What's up, guys, and welcome to today's episode of the New to the Game podcast. I am here, Ben Schneider, with Mr. Chris Olson, and today we're going to be talking about how to take one client and turn that client into many. So, Chris, tell us a little bit more about, because you're super passionate about this subject, about earning referrals and generating business through pre-existing business without necessarily having to do anything crazy in order to be able to do it. So tell us a little bit more just kind of about the importance of referrals and what that means to you.
Yeah. So on a super basic level, referrals are one of the best leads that you can get in your business because first of all, they're more qualified. They've already heard about your business. They've heard from their friends, family, or neighbors that you did a good job, and they need the service that you want. And secondly, they're free. So if you're advertising and you're paying per lead, you're not sure on the quality sometimes, and you're paying a certain amount of dollars per lead that comes in. And with a referral, you're getting that lead for free and you are getting a more qualified lead by default.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, the qualified lead is so true. I mean, I look at my closing ratios across all of my lead
hmm
sources, and it's always like, I mean, average might be, I don't know, 30, 40%. And then referrals, it's like 60 to 70% of the jobs that I close. It's crazy. So tell us what when you're out there and you're working with a client and you're wanting to be able to find ways to be able to generate more business out of the client. What have you found to be, I guess, some of the strategies that you found to be successful in being able to do this in a way that, again, truly does take one client and ultimately convert them into, well, I don't know, what do you want to call them, a lead generating machine? What does that look like on your side?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it comes down to, what I'd call it is instead of just creating a client, you're creating a relationship or a fan of your business, and you're creating a referral source for future business. And I think what it starts with, and what I've always found to be the most important, is the client experience. So if you're not getting referrals, the first thing I would look at is, are you providing a quality client experience? And that doesn't always look like doing a good job. You might be a really, really phenomenal painter, but if your customers don't love and enjoy your client experience, they're less likely to refer you to their friends, family, neighbors, and all those other people. So for me, what that looks like is answering your phone all the time. So you get to them right away when they call the first time. It looks like setting their appointment and getting them an estimate in an efficient amount of time. It looks like being competitive and reasonable in your pricing, whether that means being, I don't like talking about market rate because obviously you have to charge whatever you need to charge to run your business. But if you are in the outrageously expensive category, you have to have a crazy good client experience in order to justify that cost. But if you're in a competitive range of your market, you'll get a lot more referrals. If you're not making any money, that's a different conversation. But if you are competitive, if you are providing that good quality service and experience for that price, and your experience from start to finish, like I was saying, your initial inquiry, your time on site, your pre-job reminders, checking in with the customer, showing up when you say you're going to show up, doing quality work, leaving the customer's home in a better state than you found it, and just being polite, friendly, outgoing, talkative, making sure that they're happy throughout the job and at the end, and then closing out the job in a way that leaves them feeling happy with a home that is better than you found it, with no unfinished portions of the job, and they are happy. It's so much more likely that at the end, when you wrap up, you're not only going to get that 5-star review when you ask for it, but if you ask them like, "Hey, do you have any friends or family or your neighbors or anybody else that you could refer to us for business?" Or 6 months down the road, when their friend asks them like, "Hey, do you know a good sod installer? I just bought a new house and my backyard is entirely dirt." And they think, "Oh yeah, I used Ben and his sodding company to do my backyard, and I love the whole experience. It was awesome. Give him a call. Here's his number." You're just going to get more of those referrals if your client experience is stellar.
Can you tell me a little bit more about when you're asking for a referral? Because I think that's something that a lot of people tend to overlook is like, it's just, okay, if I'm just going to provide a great experience and that person's by default going to refer me.
hmm
Sometimes there's just people that just don't think about it. They just literally don't think about it. We live in a selfish environment. And that's just the nature of things. So when it comes to actually asking someone to refer, that seems, at least for me, and I imagine for
hmm
some people, that can come across as awkward sometimes, if not done well. How do you navigate the conversation when let's just say you've completed an installation, maybe you're like kind of pre-doing it and you're asking the question in advance of your installation or your work completed. What does
Yep.
that conversation normally look like?
So for me specifically, I have referral programs within my business. So not only when I'm on site or my employees are on site, they mention it to people. So they'll say, "Hey, do you have any neighbors or friends or family that might need our services? Do you feel like we've done a great job and that you'd want to refer us to your friends and family? Did we provide you a 5-star experience?" I mean, our crews are trained to ask those questions and talk to people about it. And I think if you ask in a way that is more from a perspective and from a place of asking them to make sure that we did a good job, it puts it on their mind. Then we also have follow-up systems. So when they get their final invoice, the bottom of their invoice always has a little note that says, we would love to work with you again in the future. Also, by the way, if you refer neighbors or friends, you get a $25 discount or a 10% discount or whatever the promotion you decide to run is. And then on top of that, a couple weeks after the job, they get another follow-up email just saying, "Hey, we just wanted to check in with you. We hope you enjoyed your service. If there's any issues or problems, please give us a call at the office. Also, don't forget that if you refer XYZ, you get a discount on your next service." And we also have referral programs for multiple customers and jobs in the same day. So because we do service call appointments, we bounce all over the place. I mean, we service an area that covers 5 counties and hours of driving. So it's obviously way better for us to drive out to an area and do 3 jobs in the same street than it is to do 3 jobs in 3 different cities. So what we do is we offer a discount of 10 or 15% off if we'd have 2 or 3 neighbors that all want to get a service done on the same day. So we actually have a lot of recurring revenue clients that hire us every year, but they coordinate with their neighbors and all 3 neighbors get the job done on the same day. And some of those jobs came about because those neighbors are close and good friends. Some of them came about because they saw that referral request and they said, "Oh man, that's a good idea. I really should talk to my neighbors and see if we can get it done on the same day." And then sometimes it comes organically from the first time they refer them is just because, hey, the neighbor comes up to them and says, "Hey, I saw these guys cleaning your roof. I saw their truck. I saw the guys up on the roof. Can I have their number? I need to get my roof done too so I can get an estimate." And then they hear about that referral option or that same day service option. And then the next year they get them done on the same day. So there's a handful of ways you can do that to start a referral program. And there's a lot of people that have issues with paying for referrals. But here's what I'd ask you. So if you do 2 jobs a day that each cost $500, so you're doing $1,000 a day, and you're including time for driving and running around and lag time. If you give that customer a discount, say $20 off, $50 off, whatever it is, and you can do both those jobs on the same street on the same day, you're making the same amount of profit at the end of the day, and the customers feel like they're getting a good deal. Even
If
if
not
you were
more,
paying
because your
for that
labor costs
referral,
are less.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even if you're just giving that customer a $25 Starbucks gift card, you're still making more profit than you would if you had to drive 30 minutes in between those 2 jobs. Especially if you're thinking about a business like mine where I'm paying 2 guys by the hour to sit in the van plus fuel to drive around. Like when I look at my labor numbers, 30% of my payroll every month is drive time, which is enormous. But it's just part of the business I run. So if I can narrow that down by a couple hours here and there and give that client a discount, it makes the client feel good. They appreciate it. They get a discount. They get our neighbor a discount. And then both people, both the referral source and the referral, get their job done for a little bit cheaper. And we still make the same, if not more, profit on that day. And there's a lot of different creative ways you can build programs like that. But what it starts with is thinking about how can I both create an experience that a client would want to refer to their friends and neighbors and family. And then it also starts with how can I incentivize it or remind people or keep them top of mind. Or like Ben was talking about, just straight up asking them for the referral. Hey, do you know anybody, friends, family, neighbors that would want to do it? And then if they say no, it's like, well, do you have any neighbors you really don't like that you could refer to us?
Yeah, it's so. I mean, you gotta get the failures out of the way first. I mean, the asking those kind of questions can feel awkward at first, but then with time, it's just like, hey, like you can make it like Chris said, just make it a joke, even like just
Mm-hmm.
casually but jokingly be like, look, we're gonna be in your neighborhood here in a couple weeks. I mean, is there anybody else that you're gonna want to package that might be interested in
Mm-hmm.
packaging in their installation with yours while we're doing this at the same time, or your service at the same time? We're running a special where we do X, Y, Z. You don't even have to run a special. You can just do it without running a special and just say, hey, like we'd love to be able to service a few people at one time and everyone help boost the neighborhood or something like that. Or hey, when we're wrapped up with this thing, if we knock it out of the park, would you be open to maybe just like sharing about us on your Facebook page or neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
page? And yeah, again, it's just it becomes casual, it becomes easy, but it's just one of those things like people are totally fine and totally normal if you ask them those to do those types of things. And I always like to throw it in like, look, if we completely drop the ball and we screw it up, then please don't refer us. But if we do, then we would love to be able to make sure that we can earn some additional business in this neighborhood. And people appreciate that ask. They like, again, most people, as I've said many
Mm-hmm.
times before, like most people actually do. It makes them feel good to support a small business. So never be afraid to just look, hey, we'd love to earn some business in this neighborhood. Is there any ways that you think we might be able to reach some of the neighbors as well, and just bring them into that experience and opportunity?
Yep. Yeah, and one last thing I want to touch on too is everything we've been talking about to this point is warm referrals, meaning you worked with a client, that client refers you. But don't write off the power of leaving a business card on a neighbor's doorstep or a door hanger or postcards in that same neighborhood too, because that is essentially a referral because you are in that neighborhood, you're working. That means that one of their neighbors hired you. And then if they see you working, see your truck, and then they see your card on their doorstep, automatically you have some credit and buy-in because one of their neighbors already hired you. Awesome. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up with that. We could talk all day about this, but we have a whole marketing course in the works right now and a whole a whole list of topics in this area. So there's a lot of overlapping topics when it comes to marketing and finding jobs. So we are going to keep talking about that on future episodes, but we're also working on a pretty in-depth marketing course. We also talk about it in our group on Skool. So if you are interested in joining our community, hanging out with us, and learning from other people that are doing what you're doing, working on starting a business or growing their business, come join us on Skool, Skool. Link will be in the show notes. And you can find us on Apple, Spotify, every podcast platform known to man. And we would love to see you. We'd love to talk to you and love to be a part of our community. And with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.